that there's always going to be tension in the room if you're a Christian. Because we're living in a fallen world. We're living in a world where there's sin, where there's failure, where there's people who have bad motivations and desires. And sometimes we're even those people. And so it's going to be impossible to live free from tension on this side of eternity. Someday when we go be with the Lord, there won't be any tension, but until the time we go be with him, there is always going to be tension. There's always going to be an elephant in the room, and we can't escape it, okay? And if we just try to side with one side of an issue, we're going to lose our witness as Christians. Yes. We're not going to be able to speak to everybody who's in the room if we focus and just side on one side of a particular issue, whether it's, you already mentioned it, political, social, economic, ethnic, you know, there's so many different things that are touching our culture right here and now. And so we have to be, if we're going to be conscientious Christians, okay, we're going to have to live with the real tension and seek, as you were saying, Pastor Ben, to be peacemakers, not peacekeepers. Let me say it another way, not peacekeepers or peacemongers. Let me say it another way. We as Christians can't be either isolationists or authoritarian. We don't have that luxury to just go to one or the other. Well, you know what? I'm not going to care about what goes on. I'm just going to take care of me and my own. That doesn't fly for a conscious Christian. Or another way is, well, it's going to be this way or the highway. Either you do it as a Christian, either you do it the way we Christians say, or just take a hike. That doesn't really fly either if we're going to seek to really win the lost. Absolutely. So in the middle of this tension, I want to clarify the tension. It's to be Christ-centered and socially responsible. You see it on the PowerPoint. It's to and to hang on to both of these. I want you to see something. When Jesus was hanging on the cross, his right hand, this is left, his left hand and his right hand were both nailed. His feet were nailed. Jesus was experiencing tension like nobody else had ever experienced as he's hanging on the cross. There's people yelling one thing. There's people yelling another thing. There's people saying he's innocent. There's other people saying he's guilty. Jesus embodied tension like we never will. But I'll tell you, if we're going to follow Christ, we're going to have some tension too, of always seeking to be Christ-centered and always being socially responsible. Like, Pastor Dave, what do you mean? Well, social responsibility means we demonstrate the compassion and character of Christ into our communities and into our culture and into our society. And so we can't just say, well, that's wrong. We can't just point the finger and point the blame. We have to actually move past that and say, what's the socially responsible thing? How can God use us? Let me give an example. And I am pro-life. And I believe that if you're a Christian, that you should always, this should be, the sanctity of life is something that should be at the top end of your hierarchy of beliefs. However, me as a Christian, and Amy and I had to look each other in the eyes and say, are we willing to adopt an unwanted child? You can't just say, well, I'm pro-life. Are we willing to be a part of the solution? That's social responsibility. That's good.